What's up? This is it. We're going back to the 36 chambers. And when you go back to the 36 chambers, you got to talk about the beef between Method Man and Raekwon the Chef. Now, this is weird because in the beginning, Ray was the biggest one in his corner. That's what's so strange. Like, he got into it more with Ghostface, U-God, RZA, all of them most of the time, and Ray would always have his back. He'd be like, nah, y'all chill out. Meth got a point, you know? And Meth is real emotional about everything. He's passionate. And if you hurt his feelings or something, he gonna be in a stank mood the entire night. So they was on the airplane and he was working on his album, and sometimes he wanna be by himself so he can write the rhyme. And you know, and he has some ideas and they shooting it down, and it's all about, you know, why Meth gotta do this and Meth for this and Meth that, and he's just tired of it, you know. And so he argued with everybody, even RZA and them, and they was like, Meth, you tripping, you bugging. So he go in the back, and that's when he wrote What the Blood Clot. And him and Ray got into it for like the first time ever. Like, those two ended up having an argument like that. Because Ray is normally on his side. And then he said, man, you know what, Ray? When they calmed down, he said, we're going to do this thing, we go back and forth, like Meth versus Chef. You know, that'll be a cold concept for a song. You know, I do this, we come in. So they wrote Meth versus Chef and how he come in, the whole thing. And they had the, like, stage like it was a fight. And it's weird because that was the guy he got along with the most, who seemed to get it. When everybody else didn't get it, he seemed to get it. And what Ray wanted to do, and RZA, is why he ended up bumping heads. Ray wanted to be the leader of the Wu-Tang Clan. A lot of people thought Ray was. Raekwon wanted to be the one out in front, and people think Ray was running the show. So Ray was doing that, and the RZA don't have no problems with that. And someone else believe they're running everything, and he can take none of the slack, and he can sit in the background. He cool with that. RZA don't care about being in the spotlight. So he's doing his Bobby Digital thing and moving on, and most of the guys left to fend for themselves. Ray got an individual contract going on with Loud Records, and Method Man is reaching his deadline on his album. So Meth wasn't 100% happy with the Takao album, but he knew what it was and what it was all about. He just had to get on his money, make sure he wasn't losing a lot of it. Now, Method Man album comes out, sells almost 2 million copies when it first released. And dude was acting like it was nothing. So Ray started to, you know, resent that. He was excited because he was on it, and he wanted to get himself out there. Now, they already had a plan that they was gonna do Method Man dirty, and then they was gonna come with Raekwon the Chef, then the Genius. Though that was always ways in play, but like Old Dirty had his deal first as an independent artist. RZA wanted to go out there and change the game, meaning that he wanted his he wanted all of his crew member, because of the strength of the album, to go out and get independent record deals. And what that was going to do for everybody else was get them $1 million deals individually from different companies. So now you're not asking the record label to be your boss, or you're begging for them to brand you. The record labels are all coming to you because they want a piece of the Wu-Tang. So anything that has a Wu-Tang on it, they want it, because it was in demand. So now you got all these individuals getting their own individual deals. And Ray ended up signing with Loud Records. Steve Rifkin came over there and said, well, we want to keep Ray home. Don't shop him around, because really nobody wanted Ray. So Steve Rifkin took a chance and was like, man, that's just like another Wu-Tang out. You know, he was deep into the music and believed. So he just went ahead and took the risk. So when he took the risk, said, alright, this is what we finna do, boom. There it was. It was a done deal. So after that fact was over, you got the situation where Ray's working on his album, and Meth is over there doing his parts for Ice Cream and the joints he doing it with. And at this time, like I said, it was all love. There was no problems, nothing. Everybody cool. They had the one incident, you know, at the Arsenio Hall show where everybody wanted Method Man, you know, because nobody really knew the rest of the crew like that. So it was like Method Man and then everybody else, you know, do the rap. And then Ray's like, man, how am I supposed to shine, Rock? How am I supposed to get my shine on, Rock? And he always doing the rhymes. So Meth, you know, he just, it hurt his feelings at times. So he just keep to himself, be quiet, and go to the back. And he don't even want to hear it. But, you know, then he'll just blow off the handle. But after he did Ice Cream, he actually did the Genius album at the same time. The way RZA was recording, Meth was on fire. So he did the hook for Ice Cream, and then he went right into the GZA song. He did them all at the same time. And he was just having a day. He was in the zone. After the success of Only Built for Cuban Links, Ray changed. All of a sudden, now everybody know who Raekwon was. And the game individually, like, yeah, y'all gotta respect respect my skills. It's like, yeah, it's me, I'm up there now. And it's like he's trying to assume control of the helm. Now he's more vocal about stuff he want to see happen and what he wanted to see done and changes and what direction they should be going in. So Ghost's album is getting ready to come out right after the Genius album, and this upset a lot of people because they was like, Ghostface finna get an album? Like, when was that in the play? It was supposed to be Deck. So when that order started breaking down, it was like, wait, we just did it, guys. He just did an album with Raekwon. That's what they was doing. Ray and Ghost. That was their album. You know, like, what is Ghost doing coming with an album? And they felt like, whoa, now that's messing up the format. Dex was supposed to be next. So Ray, you know, getting closer to the RZA and telling them this is what they need, and RZA went with that format Meth is like, this ain't making sense. And then you got the project coming with, everybody wanting to know what's coming on with Method Man on his album. And he only had a couple albums left, and Def Jam's like what's going on? He's like, I understand we using them in features and keeping them out there, but we don't need a new Method Man out. So they was like, oh, it's working, and Meth, he wasn't about it now. He wasn't, he was more cool with doing what he was doing. Making appearances, doing the Wu song, so that way he's always creating something else. And the album thing, he was just like, alright, I gotta make another full-length album, and everybody asking for it, and RZA thought that was the best approach. So, here we go. Raekwon gets in an argument with Meth over a situation with Inspector Deck. Deck is like, you know what? It's alright, man. My time will come, man. I'm getting paid like everybody else. But, yeah, he was like, yeah, I felt I should have been out there. But Ray was like, look, man, this is what we gonna do. I'm gonna do a joint on everybody track, and then everybody, we gonna just come out like this. RZA, I already talked to RZA and this and this, and this the way the format finna go. And Meth is like, yeah, that's not gonna fit my schedule. And then he's just cut off. Well, we don't really need you on the track. I'm gonna make the appearance. I'm gonna do this my way, and da 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 da. So when he started trying to go behind and do the recording and get like True Mass and all these other people, Ray was trying to build his own individual Wu-Tang called the Cream Team, American Cream Team. He was building his own miniature Wu-Tang to be under him. It's like, the RZA either gonna ride with me or support my plan, or he ain't. I'm not sticking to that format. People want to see Ray. New York and all that, right? So, Meth is sick of Ray keep trying to call the shots. And nobody really saying nothing. And everybody just rolling with it, just saying whatever. But RZA was a little ticked off with him. So, he was like, I'm putting out my album. I'm doing my own album. And the RZA was like, well, go ahead. RZA still gets a check. So he's like, don't do your own thing. If you want to go ahead, make your own album, make it. Meth still did a song with Ray. After Ray called him one hit wonder, all that, you a bitch, all this stuff, all in the argument, Meth still gave him the song and gave him the verse. He was like, nah, give him the verse. And the album was in Mobile Larry. And once the Mobile Larry dropped, it was crickets. No RZA production, no nothing. Ray wanted to do it on his own. He thought he knew too much. And he was flipping out on people. He had no Ghostface with him because he wanted to prove to people he was the man. And then he didn't have to have Ghost on every song. So he wanted to be known individually as an artist. And needless to say, the production on the album was very bad. The delivery was very bad. And everybody wanted to give him the I told you so. But Meth was the only one to say, you see, the fall, you know what I'm saying? He trying to tell them we brothers. It's a brotherhood. And that's what made Wu-Tang strong. But they get into another big argument that almost lead to blows, going into the Wu-Tang Forever album. So everybody is waiting on Meth album to come out. And then they got the Wu-Tang Forever. So now it's time for Meth's second album. And Chicago 2 Judgment Day is coming. Ray was supposed to be on the album. Everything's supposed to go wonderful. Him and Method Man get into a argument about who was because they were supposed to do a sequel to, you know, Meth vs. Chef, and then it broke out to who was supposed to be on some song, and Ray was like, well, tell them I'll be on it, but I want to get paid. They got to pay me at least $200,000 for my appearance. After all Meth did for him, and Meth was like, I made your album hot. You know, when Meth get fed up, he just blow. So Meth blew up. Meth was like, I had enough. Dude, I had the tightest thing. They talk about me more on your album than anything. They talk about Ghost more than they talk about you. And when that happened, you know, it blew up a lot. And, you know, he was like, well, if I don't get such and such and such and such amount, then y'all ain't getting Ray. You tell Russell and all them, right? They got the money. So if they don't got it, then I want it. So one of the songs that they had already recorded, Ray wanted the money or he wasn't gonna get his appearance. Leo Cohen said, he want what? He was like, yeah, we got this song, and Deck is the one that produced the track, because it was going to be on the Inspector Deck album. It was called Spazzola, and all of them ended up on it. So they went back to the table. He said, what does Raekwon want? And it was like, oh, he want this, he want that. And he's like, all I'm going to give him is this. He can either take it or not take it. So they spazzed, they fixed everything. Then came what I was finna tell you about. Because True Master came into more of a producer. So True Master was doing some tracks, a lot of them. But Ray was, you know, bigger than life at the time in his own mind. So while this is going on, they was like, okay, it's time to do the Wu album. You know, the W. We need to get this moving. And then I'm sorry, I'm getting my dates mixed up. I'm doing too much. The W album was when they had the first fight, the big one, when they was the Wu-Tang Forever. That was in '97, and that's when Meth was getting ready to shut down, because Meth was doing both records. That's what happened. Meth was doing both records at the same time. He was finishing his album because Def Jam was pushing to have that album done. Yep, I remember it all too well now. So they were really pushing to get the album done. And Meth is doing 2 records at one time, which ain't difficult for them. Like, this is how they work. So when that dropped, Ray was trying to be the main focal point, and RZA was agreeing with a lot of that. You know, like, Ray's back, you know, and for some reason RZA was always in the fold with Ghost and Ray. You know, everything was, you know, Ghost and Ray. So while working on the double disc, RZA was also working on like 3 projects at one time. So Force Disciple, even Deck was producing some records, and True Mass I think did a track or 2, you know. But RZA was working on a lot of different stuff at the time. So he had the album that they were gonna do with Ray, and since they was gonna make the Wu-Tang Forever double CD, because double CDs became the thing now. It's like, oh, you sell 2 discs, they count for 2. So you selling 2, you getting 4. You know, you sell 3, that's 6. And he was like, the Wu-Tang Forever album finna sell about 3 million records off the bat. So we sell 3 million. You know what that mean, right? We sell a 3 million, boom, that's 6. So they whole mind is blown by all this. So we need to make the Wu-Tang Forever album a double CD, because the fans been waiting so long. Even though they've been getting albums every year. So Meth is like, only wanted to do like 3, maybe a couple songs. And he had did a record with he had a verse that they took and they put to another record, and it was on I think the one Deck did on Visions, and Ray went in there and changed the order of the verses, basically, and what they were gonna go and how they were gonna go down. Deck was doing the track, and he told Deck that like, you know, I want it to go this way. I want Meth to lead off and do it this way, you know, the structure. Deck was like, I'm cool with it, I'll go last. But normally Deck was gonna set it off, but he didn't care, you know, how whatever order they wanted to go. Ray was like, I want to be second, I want to come behind Meth. And his verse sounds like he's trying to outdo Meth on the track. And so on the others, he tried to do the same thing on Fourth Disciple. Like, he trying to, every song that he on with Method Man, he trying to outdo Method Man. Like, I'm doing all this and doing this. And RZA had talked to Ray Ghost, because he was like, look, we need to get this Wu-Tang Forever album done. That was his main concern. And they didn't have enough songs, enough time and budget to keep going back, redoing songs, everybody fighting, and Meth getting into it with Ray Ghost. And Ray was like, I didn't want to do the Meth vs. Chef part 2 with Method Man. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to go into no, let's go into battle. He was like, let's battle right here. You know, that's Ray. You ain't never nicer than me. You know, every time they always get into the ego. So he convinced Ray to give up the songs that they had for Cuban Links Part 2. That's why you hear certain songs and it sound like a Raekwon album on the Wu-Tang Forever, and it don't really fit. Like man, it sound like a Ray song, like MGM with Ghost and Ray. That was a song that was supposed to have been on Ray's album. Ray gave up all the songs that they had recorded already for the album into the Wu-Tang Forever album, because they was finna do Cuban Links 2, a sequel to Cuban Links. Because Ray had, you know, he wanted to get back out there, Mobilaria. He wanted to come right back. Like, man, I put out that whack joint, you know, and everybody was basically like, oh man, Ray sucked. So he wanted to get back out there hard. So he was going to use that. Then they had their Fourth Disciple, Cash Still Rules. They had about 3-4 songs that they took off Ray's album and just put them on this album. But Method Man, Ray, fight again. You know, that goes without saying. Takao 2 comes out. He puts up the argument about the money. They get into another fight. Another argument to the point where Meth was like, I don't want Ray around when I do my stuff anyway, period. Like, he always got something to say. Every time Meth says something, I try to bring up a point. He wants to be the boss. So they all grow out of it, basically. They all like, look, man, we got money, we doing this, we doing that. And they was back brothers again. Now, the W album. And this is when Meth he had it with everybody. Because he was really had it with everybody with that album. With the Wu-Tang Forever. He was in a bad space. And when Meth in a bad space, you could almost hear it on some of the songs. He don't give a damn no more. The energy level's different. So he didn't care. He was just like, this is what I got to do for the money. So after this, he goes ahead and what happened after that? Because they was doing the W album, the third one, and they was all staying in that big house, and that's when all them fights was just breaking out left and right. Meth and Ray get into a shoving match. Meth is upset with RZA because RZA keep cutting his lines. And he's like, man, dude, you cutting. He's like, Meth's trying to like vie. Like, dude, you gotta let that play on out. You just don't cut that. And he was just like, RZA's like, look, man, this is the hardest part of anybody's job. You know that's why it's up to me. You know I get final say. We already know what it is coming in. And don't nobody want their lines cut. Nobody want their lines cut. But they gotta be cut. You know, and he's like, people don't understand. Like, Meth is dope. You know, but sometimes if you let him keep going on, he start to say a bunch of whack shit. So you gotta know how to cut it so he don't be sounding retarded. Like, it just don't, you want to keep him on point. And that's how the RZA was like, man, all the songs you love with Meth, he was like, a lot of them songs was, I had to cut them because he was going too long, you know. And you try to explain that to him, he walk around just in a bad mood, ready to just set everybody into a bad mood. So they had an interview come there, and Meth was like barely answering questions, you know, pouting, walking around, just giving everybody the stink eye. And just, you know, everybody's like, man, this is how he gets, man. You know, like, this is how Method Man get. You know, when he don't get his way or he feel, he just shell up. And that's when he started gravitating more to Redman. And they went to work on their album. Because before, they had entertained the idea of Def Jam, but they used the promotion as to put out both of their individual projects. And he was like, man, forget that, Red. Like, we need to do an album together. You know, he ain't want to deal with nobody from the clan. He wanted to have his own thing so he can come out. So him and Redman got even tighter as a brotherhood. Like, look, Red, this what we finna do. Blah, blah, blah. So Redman was like, whatever. It was Meth and Red since then. And when they came back to do the W album, that's why he really wasn't feeling it. Because he already did the Blackout. And then the next year they doing the W. And this is like one of the last things they did. Because after that, I think Iron Flag came immediately because the album tanked. Even though it sold just 1 million records. A lot of people were disappointed with that album. A lot of people thought that the album was too commercial and didn't think it's Wu-Tang. That's like, this can't be the Wu-Tang. They done fell off. So with that buzz going out there, they came right back with the Iron Flag. And Iron Flag didn't really do anything because it didn't have any marketing, nothing. So when they came out with Iron Flag, we had the Pinky Ring. It was just one of the lowest selling albums of their career. And because it had, like I said, no promotion. You know, Dirty wasn't there on it, and it was just, it was a great Wu-Tang Street album, though. If you listen to the tracks, you know, this was, you know, I Love the Rules. I mean, everything on there, Soul Power. And then everybody loved Pinky Ring, so this was a Wu-Tang album. You know, when you listen to Iron Flag, it was on. But the music had changed. And by that time, Ray and Meth, you know, they was brothers and still doing their thing. It was a lot less fighting at that point. Because they didn't really see each other too much. But it was a lot of less fighting at that point. Because everybody was trying to, you know, get their own things together and doing other things. So it wasn't really a massive thing with everybody that we need to be at war with each other and stuff. So it got resolved a lot quicker. You know, people grew up. And that's the best part, the best things or words to say, is that people grew up. A lot of people feel that they made their best work when they was fighting with each other. So, I don't know. You take it however you want to take it. How about?